I have to use that.
Is that retro?
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, we are live and you are not.
Hey guys, how are you today? Welcome back to Critical Thinker. We're excited to go a different direction today and talk about relationships.
Yeah.
We knew you were excited for this one.
Yeah, I like when people ask me how can this old man, I'll be 50 this year, how can you talk about relationships? And I said, well, because I lived it all. You know, 2 marriages. I've dated both in the analogical times and and recently. So dating apps. So I have all the experience required to talk about that. So
I'm a good-looking young man, so that's where my experience comes in.
oh my 30s. Oh my 30s. I'm long time ago. And enjoy it while it lasts.
Right.
Okay, so tell me, Pepper, what do you think is the problem with relationships today?
Well, I think a lot of the problem with, where do you start? There's a lot. But I think so much of our society has become lost its connection with things, with humanity, with nature, and it's such a fast-paced society, and we have such a emotionally illiterate society today, and one that doesn't want to commit to anything, whether it's relationships or jobs or career paths or anything. There's just a lack of desire to commit. It's much more of a transient, society in general. People just want to live in the moment and impulsively, and I think that's affected relationships. I think we've also, especially in the last 10 years, seen men not just being emasculated. I think they are emasculated already for the most part, and I think women have been really pushed to be aggressive, domineering. I mean, I was talking to a friend yesterday. I'd love for her to come on at some point as a guest speaker, but she was telling me the other day, 2 days ago, we were sitting talking, and she says that she went into the military, and she was telling me that she felt an intense amount of pressure to be this strong, bold woman, to not want to be like at the house. And she grew up as a conservative Christian family, and she just so much of what was around her made her really buy into that. She says now that she's older, she doesn't really agree with that mentality at all. But she remembers she used to be dogmatic about it when she was younger, because she really bought what was being fed to her regarding that. But there's not, and I think that plays into the dynamics of relationships, where you have these women who are incredibly, who are pushed by society to be something that sometimes, not always, but sometimes is contrary to their nature, and men who is pushed by society to oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes be something that's contrary to their nature, and it affects their relationship together,
Yeah, you said something, the pace that society is going, and I, since I'm a little older than you, I know, guys, I know it doesn't look like, but I am older than him. Sigmund Bauman, the philosopher, writer?
No.
He theorized that we live in something that he called liquid times. Because, for example, back in the day, our grandparents, not our parents, but our grandparents, they live in a times that everything was certain.
Yeah.
For example, if you had a good job, you were practically 95% guaranteed for the rest of your life.
Right.
If you, for example, went to university, you had at least 90% guarantee that you're going to get a good job, and your life would be guaranteed.
Right.
And then our parents came, and not only that, but every single concept, okay, you are feeling like that, so we should take this. Everything was pretty much solid.
Yeah.
Now, according to Bauman, we live in liquid times. So everything, there's nothing more set on stone. Everything is volatile. And I was talking about that, I think, in the other show, because back in the day, we had, I told you about the appliances. We had appliances that would survive for like 50 years, like refrigerators and TV sets and things like that. And today, if we see something, oh, it's not working fine, you throw it away and buy another one. And that, unfortunately, it is being transferred, in my opinion, to our interactions, not only romantic ones, but also friendships, business relationships, and everything. You mentioned about the fact that men are being emasculated and women are being uh, getting more and more masculine traits. I absolutely agree. I think it's very sad because I always say that I'm the original feminist because I believe women, I obviously not this what is feminism today,
Right.
but I was the original feminist, meaning if a woman wants to do something, she should be allowed to do. If a woman is performing the same job as a man, she should be paid the same. I believe in all of that, but this is like um, this is to be equal in dignity and in value because we both agree that we are different in many ways. And unfortunately, women was sold this idea that they could be happy by having a career. So they never had the chance to work a few hundred years ago. Uh, and then suddenly they have um, the um, the sexual revolution. They got the pill. They were able to have free intimate relations without having to worry about pregnancy. And then they went to work. They could work in anything they want. But unfortunately, to be if you want to compete in equal grounds with men, you have to be stronger than men. And unfortunately, when you compromise your soul in that degree, you are no longer uh, attractive to men.
Well, this is not a comment on what my opinion is on it, but just looking at the trajectory of what happened. You had after World or during World War II, the women joined the workforce,
Mhm.
and the men came back, and then there were twice as many people in the job force without twice as much supply as demand in the workforce, and then it was the first time ever that women could financially take care of themselves without a spouse. And so all of a sudden, right after that, divorces increased. And then marriages declined after that. I mean, this is all a trajectory of an oversaturation of the workplace because you had both men and women joining the workforce and women no longer reliant on a man for income. And I'm not commenting on whether this is bad or good, but this is what happened. And and then all of a sudden you have single people in the workforce, and you'll have married couples, neither of whom are in the workforce, being able to provide for. So it's definitely this whole thing has affected the family unit to an incredible degree. And as we're seeing, there's been even more in the last 15 years uh, things that have caused destruction and damage to the family structure to the point where it's almost problematic to show a nuclear family on television. You might be canceled if you show like monogamous couple with four
Yeah.
kids.
Well,
Brady Bunch can't exist today.
two things. Let's talk about monogamy right after. But uh, the problem that I always mention that, in my opinion, the man that women want. First, I want to make it very clear that you can do whatever you want. If you're a woman and watching us, you go, girl. Do whatever you want to do with your life. It's your life. We are not trying to say what you should do. You do whatever you want to do, but of course, everything you do, there are consequences and repercussions. Okay. So, the problem is that the man that women want, it's intellectually is different than the man that they get aroused by. This is very serious because she wants an effeminate guy that is emotional, that cries, that is emotionally available, and is almost gay. Okay? That's the man that they want. It's like a borderline gay. Almost there.
30%.
But that's what they think they want. But what they actually want and they get aroused by, and then we have the myth of the bad guy.
Yeah.
That the nice guys finish last. And there's another compliment that I cannot say here, or YouTube would cancel us. But and that's the problem, because they actually unconsciously want a masculine man. Of course, I'm not talking about toxic. It's not an extreme thing, but they want a masculine man that is going to be masculine and have the masculine traits, because remember, we talked on another show, our animal mind. That's why women are attracted by alpha males, because they want to pass that alpha characteristics to their offspring. Okay? And touching on monogamy, it's my opinion, and I think this is supposed to be common sense, in my opinion, because we are not naturally monogamic beings. Okay? But in my opinion, if you choose to be monogamous with your better half, she should satisfy you and you should satisfy her, even when one of you is not in the mood. So that to me, because, that means you only have each other. So if you want loyalty, unfortunately, there's going to be times that the guy would want, which is more often, and you have to be there for him. And you cannot, I know that's almost impossible for women to use sex as a transactional thing. But that's the problem. If you want monogamy, you have to be there and satisfy completely that person, and vice versa. And I know we both agree on that part.
Yes.
That we're supposed to
Yes.
be there for them too.
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter what. No matter what.
No matter what.
And so I think you agree with that, right?
Yeah. Well, I believe that, when two people are together, I think it's interesting to note that you actually chemically bond with people you've had sex with. And the more people you have sex with, the less strong your chemical bonds become.
Especially for women.
Yeah.
It's bad for men, according to the studies, but for women is worse.
Yeah. And
because they're not designed for that.
Right. And men are designed a little more for that.
No, I mean, again, let's go back to the cave times. Yeah. The guy, our seed is cheap. We have billions and billions and billions. Women's eggs, they only have a number. They are born with that, and it's very rare.
We'll have to do. I'm thinking of future episodes as we talk. One, we need to do a part 2 with a girl here.
Yeah, of course.
Two.
And
you mentioned cavemen multiple times. I don't know if I believe that cavemen ever existed. So
okay.
That's another one.
Okay, that's going to be a very polemic one.
Yeah.
But anyways,
the relationships, I feel like it is important when you're in a relationship, that you guys, not just sexually, but sexually also, are satisfying each other and, fulfilling each other to the best of your ability. But we have this, this trajectory that it's just changed the dynamics of relationships in in our culture of the relationships today. I mean, even to the point where, like, when I talk to people who are 18, 19 years old, their whole image of relationships and their whole concept of sex is radically different than me, and they're only 10 years behind me there,
Things are going in a faster and faster and faster pace, and very soon I think it's going to be a matter of 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
You can see.
Well, I think pornography has obviously affected everything, and readily available. I mean, think about it. 100 years ago, how hard would it be to see a naked girl that wasn't your wife? Oh my God!
I have a story from my father. My father, I think he was 14 or 15, and he and his friends, they went to a movie theater, and there was this huge poster of a woman topless, but she had like a star on the nip. So she was not naked. She had and they had like a heist operation to steal that poster from the movie theater. They almost got arrested for something that today you can have like a gynecological test of the woman if you go to the any of these websites. We are open to be sponsored if any of you, but it's so funny because my father would, he was like probably 16 or something. He would draw like a mustache to try to get in the pornography movie. So this is like surreal to us because today everything is easy.
Now you're a 13-year-old boy and you can just pull up anything you want.
Anything,
it's free.
No, not 13. You have to be minimum 18 because they ask.
They ask.
They ask, are you 18 or over? Yes. If you are under 18, like 17 in 6 months, you're already not good. But anyways, in pornography is a serious problem. Again, I'm not a Puritan. I think, you should.
I don't know. I like the Puritans. I might be.
No.
I'd be convinced of maybe being a Puritan.
I'm not at all. I'm not at all. I think, but the problem is, as everything in life, if you do too much of it, you might have problems. And even if you see some medical reports, you have a lot of like kids with 18, 19 having ED because they are watching too much pornography. And that was something I couldn't understand at first. But then it's the reward system of the brain, because imagine if we are hardwired to have, as you said, you don't have to go that far, but 70 years ago, when my 60 years ago, when my father was like 15, that a poster of a woman with like stars was so arousing. To now you have whatever you want.
Yeah.
Whatever, and I mean whatever you want. Things that I watch and got shocked. And there's stuff
and I think anything that you spend time with, you become desensitized to.
Yeah, of course.
That's
the principle of drugs, everything, alcohol, everything that you have too much, you stop enjoying it because you need more and more and more. You're never satisfied.
Yeah, and I think it's so easy for so many people to go down different rabbit holes in pornography that like cause them to have different perversions because that's what drives
Exactly.
And that's affected relationships. I mean, we're mostly talking about what's affected relationships negatively. What's a good topic? Like how have relationships been affected here?
Yeah.
In recent times.
Pornography is one major thing because think about it. I don't care if you have the most beautiful woman in the world, the most sexually open. She's never going to be able to compete with the 35 billion videos that you have in every single kind of women
category and every single
every single I don't even want to say, but still, one person cannot compete with all that with that stuff. So it's very easy for you to lose interest, to be desensitized, and so on and so forth. But what I want to talk about now, if do you want to finish or can I move on?
Yeah. Go ahead.
What I want to talk about now is that another problem that I see is this what people call the red pill people call the deregulated dating scene. What that means? That means that okay, back in the day when there's no internet. The only way the people you would date would be people that you go to school, to church, to clubs. If you are into sports or something, you're going to meet someone, or you go to bars, or you always have a limited sphere of
people. Yeah.
Yeah, of
Pool,
people
that you actually met. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you lived in a small town and something like that. But now with these apps, and you don't even have to be on this app. That's very important because today with Instagram, people are using Instagram more than Tinder, than any other. Yeah. Because you have these girls, they have like hundreds of thousands of followers. And you have people flying these girls. If she's in, I don't know, Springfield, Minnesota, I don't know if there's this stuff, but let's say she's there in the middle of Nebraska, let's say. And she is like considerably hot, and she has an Instagram that's already a storefront for her,
right,
to be hit by hundreds of guys.
Yeah.
And then, of course, 90%, if not more, just want intimate relations with her. But she will think that she can choose a man for a relationship.
Right.
Or she is in what they call in Brazil the carousel phase, which is, okay, I want to enjoy. Okay?
Yeah, fell off.
I want to enjoy my life. You're having a lot of technical problems.
I know. I won't even turn around.
No, it's like this.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, so this girl in the middle of Nebraska that will probably meet 20 guys in her whole life is going to be now, she's going to be flown to Dubai, to Paris, to the Maldives. So obviously, the chances of this girl to have a long-lasting relationship are very small. Why? Because we men lie to them. Oh, do you want something serious? Sure. Do you want to marry and have kids? Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Because we don't want to, because for us it's so hard to get intimate relations. It's so hard. For women, as I always say, if you're watching us, you are a woman, and you tonight you say, well, tonight I'm gonna have sex. You will. It might not be
endless opportunities for you guys.
It might be not with the person you want, but you're gonna have it. I don't care how hot the guy is, how rich the guy is, okay? He can think, oh, I'm gonna have, no, you might not.
Yeah.
You might invest a lot of time and money on a girl, and she said, okay, you have to take me, you meet someone in a club or something, and the girl said, okay, but first you have to take me to a date or something, or take me out for a few times. And I remember I was dating this girl. She said to me, I've dated her once. And then she said to me, listen, I only become intimate after 3 months.
3 months.
and she lived in Irvine.
Where? Oh, Irvine.
Irvine, yeah. I lived in Beverly Hills, and she lived in Irvine. So
Oh, you told me this before.
Yeah. So, and I said, listen, I wish you my best. And believe me, she had the best excuse for that. Because chemically, it takes, if you have the intimacy too early, you might blur your judgment if you're a woman. Yeah. That's scientific. That's true. I agree with her. However, I believe that things should be natural.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it should happen in a certain day or it shouldn't, but it should be when both are happy about it and comfortable about it.
Well, also, I think another thing that should be brought up is the effects of birth control on emotions and physical attractiveness. That girls, all of that is also affected by birth control. It heavily affects. I had a friend a month ago who told me she's been off birth control for like 6 months, and like it's totally changed her, like the way she processes stuff, the way she thinks about stuff, the way a lot of stuff in her life has changed for positive, because it does affect even who you're attracted to it when you're on birth control.
Yeah, I mean, you were actually, messing with a lot of hormones and stuff. Yeah. It's not like. Anyways, but to me, the important thing to be said is that first, I think women should understand how hard it is for men to get intimacy. Men should stop lying to women that they want a relationship if they don't. And women should think very seriously, because this is going to be acid. I believe that a woman should be able to do whatever she wants. It's her life. It's your life. However, if you have a life that is too promiscuous, the chances of you just being I watched this podcast. The guy's so funny. He said, recreational use only. Because if you think you can just enjoy your life and have intimate relations with, hundreds of people without any consequence, first, it's going to be very hard for you when you find the person you love to actually establish the bond. Oh, yeah. This is proven, scientifically proven. Yep. From 1 to 6 partners, you have a very high chance of success in the marriage. When you go from 6 to 12 goes down, and to 12 on, it's almost certain that it's not going to work, or it's going to be very hard to work. I'm not going to say, but because unfortunately, women have this tendency of using exceptions to the rule. Like, no, but I knew someone. That... No, there are people. For example, it's like hypergamy. There are women that date. I know a couple that date people under them financially and socially and even intellectually. There are a couple. I met maybe 3 or 4 or 5 my whole life. However, the great majority, let's say 90% of them, are going to only date people on their level or up. Yeah. But the problem is, these guys that they want are 1, 2, 3, 5% of the population. Right. And everyone. Now we have the statistic that 80% of women are dating 20% of the guys. So how we don't live in a Muslim society. So how you will be able to accommodate this 80% of women with the 20% of guys? Obviously, women would have to share guys, and they are sharing. Especially because the guys they want, as we said, is 1, 2, 3, 5% of the top. So obviously, we mentioned the last show, women want a guy that is at least 6 foot tall, 6 figures income, and 6 inches other things. So
Well, that all goes back to what we started with, where you have emasculated guys and you've got, more masculated women. And so who's the one pursuing here? You've got the women who are making the choices on who they're with. Whereas that's not historically what ever happened. It used to be the guys chose who they wanted. And there was a more even disparity between, pairing between guys and girls in the past. It wasn't like you had, but then also the, commitment level when someone got married was more long term. I mean, people paired, they were paired. There wasn't as high of a divorce rate, at least. And if there were affairs and cheating, which there surely were, they were like not advertised and they were done less frequently because it was more culturally taboo. So you had more equal pairings. You didn't have that same breakdown as we have now, and you wonder how much of it has to do with that not having guys be the aggressive pursuers here.
yeah, one thing I think that is we have also the notion that we have that especially in, for example, I give you an example in the West, in Italy, uh, which is the Madonna Complex, and we have that in Japan. The woman is just a woman to the guy up to the time that she gets married.
Right.
At the time she gets married, she changes. She becomes the wife and the mother, and therefore the guy is something magical. I met some people that I dated this British woman that she was married to an Italian guy, and it didn't work because at the moment that they got married, he started seeing her as the Madonna thing, and then
Yeah.
he no longer could. They lost the romance, and in Japan, that's very serious, and they are having Japan is like really serious because they are not having intimate relationships. They're just working, 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 working. And Japan was like in the 80s was up here, and now is falling down, and they are with a lot of depression because when you have an economy thriving, you can justify everything.
Right.
But now they don't have it anymore.
Right.
It's going down, and everyone is unhappy.
Yeah.
It's okay to be unhappy if you are the second economy in the world, but
Right.
if you are falling, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's one of the things you have to have. In I think you had a lot more women unhappy in the past,
Sure,
than men.
Well, what is unhappy? What are your expectations?
Yeah, that's another problem.
Yeah, there is a totally different expectation, and so I don't think. And I mean, here's the question: would you rather be less fulfilled, less satisfied, but pursuing whoever you want at all times, or would you rather be more fulfilled, more satisfied, and content in other ways, but maybe not with who you would have drawn out on paper as who you wanted? So I think now I'm not saying that happened across the board, but there's the potential that you could have had pairings like we were talking about arranged marriages the other day. You know, their expectation is totally different.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily who they want to marry, but they don't think of it like that. And people are generally more content, even though maybe it's not the Chris Hemsworth the woman is looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the problem is a lot of people theorize that. I don't believe in that, but a lot of people theorize that you get married to build a family, not to be happy. Because the purpose of a family is the kids.
Yeah.
Is raising kids, is continuing the species, the lineage, and blah blah blah. I don't believe in that. I believe we can have it all.
Yeah.
No, I mean you should have a balance of things. Okay, you. I think that if you are unhappy and you're just focusing on children, that would transpire, and your children are not going to be happy. Of course, you can sacrifice part of your happiness for theirs,
Right.
that's fine. But if you are not happy, they are going to be miserable too.
Yeah.
Because they're going to see that their parents are not happy. They are not together. They are not, So, yeah, I think the main problem is we have to be more, we have to understand women more, and women have to understand us more, which is a lot easier task for them because we are such simple creatures, right?
Yeah.
If we eat, we have some mild entertainment and some intimacy, we're good.
Yeah.
We don't need anything. For us, things are so simple. It's so easy to make us happy. So easy. And not create drama, because that's something very important. You don't know that woman. You listen to that because that's going to be important to make your man happy. One of the most important things for man, maybe equally to intimacy, is peace of mind.
Oh yeah.
Peace of mind. You man want a woman that actually can make his life easier. That's the purpose.
Well, and I'd say also, I mean, I'd say for me, and I think a lot of guys, it's respect. If you respect me, if you respect me, like
Yeah,
just you trust me. Like you don't necessarily always agree with me, but if you trust me
Yeah.
and respect me, and like at the end, you're like, you know what? I bet like I can trust that he's gonna make a good decision, even if I don't agree with it. And
Yeah.
you just respect me and my decision making. Man, I mean, that's
Because let's be honest here. Let's be honest. Okay. Um, who do you think should be the the head of the relationship, the decision maker?
I think the guy should.
Okay. I think too. I'm not saying women cannot be better leaders than men, but there are very small exceptions. If you see in history, you have, um, for example, you have, for example, Her Majesty that just passed, Queen Elizabeth, was a great queen,
Right.
but Queen Victoria was a great queen. You had some women that were great leaders. That doesn't mean that women cannot lead. Women can lead, but for each woman you have like 20 men. That's why you don't have a matriarchal society that resisted the test of time.
Well, and I think at the end of the day, women and men are biologically different and have different strengths
Absolutely.
and different weaknesses. Both of them have different strengths and
They are
different weaknesses.
complementary.
Right, they are complementary.
That's
And
the point. Yeah.
I think that men in general, I mean, watch the difference between the parenting of your child falling on the playground, your 2-year-old falling off the swing set, how a mother reacts and how a father reacts. And the father has the ability, oftentimes, not always, this is a generality, but in general, has the composure in situations that tend to be higher stress, and also has the ability to make hard, difficult decisions without pause, without hesitating. Oftentimes, not all the time,
Because we are more logical. We are more
exactly
focused on immediately solving problems.
Right, which is why I think they tend to do better as leaders of the family. Women tend to be much more administrative, which I think, I mean, the old, idea of women keeping the home, I mean, and it's put down a lot, but why? Because women can make it, can organize it. Guys are not great at organizing stuff. We tend to be really bad at, managing details and at making sure stuff works. But we're good at the big idea, the vision, the direction. Women are great at putting all. That's why it's many women really excel at being secretaries because they're great at the details in general, and they're great at organizing stuff. And so I think the idea of women taking care of the home has to do with they're great at organizing stuff. They're great at keeping stuff functioning.
Let's be clear here. We don't think that men are better than women.
Not at all. No.
Okay, no, men are not better, and I'm going to give an example. We are equal in dignity and value, human value.
Yeah.
Okay. However, if a woman is going to take a leadership position, she's going to have masculine traits. Like we talked at the other show. If you want to be a CEO, you have to be able to fight like a man, like a lion, right?
And some women can too.
Yeah, and do it great.
Yeah,
we are not saying they're not able to, but usually, man, that's the man's job to lead. That's a man's job. I forgot what I would say now.
Well, and the reverse is true too. I mean, generally, men tend to not be detail oriented and organized, but there are some men who really excel at that. You know, I mean, that's
there are always exceptions to the rule.
Sure.
Always
But the
exceptions.
generality is that men tend to, be more decisive, be more big picture oriented, be more problem solvers, and not because they don't get. I'm going to use the word caught up in the details, and in fact, they oftentimes forget the details. I mean, if you're with a man, ask him when your anniversary is. Like that's not the details guys usually. I mean, you make fun of it because guys don't pay attention to their kid's birthday. They don't pay attention to the details, but that also doesn't bog them down. So they need a woman in general to help them with the details because they're not good at that. But it also, when they're making a decision, they're able to have a direction they go towards. And all the idiosyncrasies of all the details being lined up doesn't affect and delay them from making a decision immediately that needs to happen because they have a big picture idea. And then they can have a wife, that helps them do the details because they never get there without the details,
Exactly. That's very important. And people talk about this sexual market value for dating. And people don't understand. And women, they hated it because they say, oh, how come because after 30, I'm no longer valuable for dating. No, the point is this. Women have some qualities when they are younger, and guys, they are useless for dating when they are from 18 to
26.
No girl wants the guy because the guy didn't figure out his life yet. Money, usually.
Yeah.
So
they don't know how to do details.
Yeah, and women are.
That's why women excel at
prime.
School better.
Yeah.
Women are so much better at school.
Well, they are the
academically.
majority at college now.
Yeah, because they're.
Let's see where that's going.
Gentlemen watching, if you want a wife, college might be the place.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another problem because women that have college degrees, they want a guy that actually has college degrees.
Well, and it's interesting because like our whole education system is not designed to be most advantageous for guys. It actually causes, the way it's structured, women excel in it more. So you've actually got a system where whether we're intentionally or not, we're putting more women in the workforce because they're the ones who are excelling more in schools. Guys are not wired to be sitting in a classroom for 8 hours, in general, sitting in a classroom 8 hours listening to lectures.
And I cannot talk about percentages or things like that, but I think today is easier for guys and cheaper for guys to make good money as blue-collar workers.
Yeah.
Than to go to a university and do a business management and MBA. The chances of you actually making money with that are, going down and down and down with time. Whereas you can find plumbers that make like $100,000 a year. So you can make good money with jobs that are not that, like status, for women, for example. A lot of women wouldn't date a guy that is a carpenter or plumber or something like that because of status. But if you think about money, these guys make good money, like truckers.
Yeah.
They make good money.
Yeah.
And it's a totally honorable job like any other job. But, you have all this, appearances. And so better for them to have a guy with a degree or something like that. So what's your opinion?
Comment, give us feedback. Let us hear your thoughts.
What's your opinion?
You disagree with us?
You think that we are talking bad about women? We're misogynistic guys? You think that? Comment. Send us an email. Here's the email address. Comment, subscribe. You want to say something else?
Yeah, comment, subscribe.
You see, that is perfect time.
Yeah.
Perfect time. Okay, guys. So we see you next time on A Critical Thinker. Here's the guy. I'm gonna turn in a little bit because he was like pointing his back to me the whole time, and is not. I'm not into the man's anatomy, so I'm not gonna point to you guys too. So just let him point that way. Okay, guys. So thank you so much. See you guys next time. Bye bye.